Okay, so I'm going to attempt to replace the batteries in my, or the batteries in my Ryobi RM300e, and I'm going to use this LiTime 30 amp hour battery, 51.2 volts, and I'm using this smart charger here. I have already removed the switch, this pressure switch that mounts up under the seat. I took out the 2 screws and pulled that out. Not sure that I need to, but keeping in mind, I've not done this before. When it comes to electronics, I'm an idiot. But we're gonna see what happens. And I took this off because I just felt like I needed to. We'll see where it goes from there. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take off all these bolts around the perimeter that hold on all these plastic pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and take the ones off of the front too. You can see there's one there, there, and then corresponding ones on the other side. So I can take off all this plastic and hopefully not have to take off the seat, but if I want to completely make everything accessible here, I think I need to take off all of this plastic and the seat itself, just to be sure. So I think I'll take off those 2 bolts, that bolt, and then the seat should come right off. All right, I'm gonna pause and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've taken out a bunch of bolts, and I was, all the bolts holding down the plastic, and I was concerned about keeping up with what went where in terms of the different size of bolts, so I was looking for a white Sharpie, but I don't have one, so I just used this really strong vinyl tape, and I stuck it wherever there are holes, and I labeled if they were different sizes, then I labeled them differently. So all the 1s match, and then there's a 2 there. Everything else around the back, I haven't removed the bottom ones yet. I'm not sure what those are, but there was a 1 there and a 2 on the side here. And then I made envelopes to put the bolts in so that I can match them up to the holes when I go to put this back together. On the front, these all ended up being 1s across here. So those all go into the 1 envelope. So you can see it's pretty full of number 1 size bolts. I'm not sure what millimeter size they are. It doesn't matter for me. So anyway, I have just a couple more to take off on the back. I'll put a number on there and there when I pull those out, and when I see what size they are, and then I'll be back when I start to take off the plastic coverings and see what that looks like. Okay, so I just put the phone on a little tripod that will hopefully help me out here a little bit, so I can show more. So I've got all the bolts out. I have placed them in numbered envelopes because I didn't have little baggies. If I'd known all this ahead of time, I would have bought like a white Sharpie and some plastic baggies, but I'm out of sandwich bags. So those envelopes contain all the bolts that line up with the numbers that you see in all these different locations. So they're all around, and so now I know that I'm going to get them back in the right spot. I also took out the little screws in here. I've just set those to the side. I can remember what those are so that I can now have this loose, assuming I need to. I'm not even sure if I need to, but I know I'm going to be doing something with that later. We'll see how that works out. Okay, so let me see if I can, I'm not sure how this plastic piece is going to come off. If this can't slide down in there, I think there might be a connector to that. So let's just go ahead and pull this off. Oops, I've got one more screw to take out. So this was probably This is a unique one of a kind. It's in the corner up here. Just a little Phillips head screw. Take this out. All right, that should be all the screws that I can see. Oh, no, let's take it back. It's two of a kind. Here's another one. Tiny little screw that holds this little piece of plastic to this outer piece of plastic. So that's off. Okay, so now, hopefully this just lifts off. Pull this to the side, this comes off now, and that should release. It should release this corner piece. Something's holding that on. Not sure what. Let me pause until I figure that out. No point in watching through all this. Okay, I figured out what it was. I had to lift this whole corner piece. Just kind of like lifts off. I had to muscle it off, but I didn't break anything, so at least not that I can tell. And then this separates here. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this to the side, and then all this I'm gonna leave for now because I don't know what to do with it yet. All right, so then I'm gonna take this piece that went here, set it off to the side, and then let's see if this comes up. Oh, I better take off this seat. Okay, I'd unbolted that earlier, so that's coming off. That was pretty easy to unbolt. All right, so now I'm starting to see some things. This piece here, just got to release that. So I'm just going to lay that down there. And then this piece here, whoops, I forgot to place those screws in a safe place. Lesson number 2. I'll be right back. Okay, so apparently this piece isn't going to come off until I remove these 2 bolts and release this platform so that these tabs, there's some tabs down here that I think are underneath this platform that I need to free up so that I can pull this bottom off. So I'll do that and I'll be back. Okay, so I went to raise the back of this plastic piece, and you can see here that it stops at it did stop at a certain point. So what I had to do was disconnect this this little piece here was plugged into here, and so I couldn't pick up the plastic all the way. So I just disconnected that. It's got a little tab you pull out here so that you can unsnap that, and that disconnects it from whatever this thing is down here. Some voodoo electric thing. I'll be back. Okay, so let me just angle this up a little bit. I'm gonna lift this up here, and when I do, you can see there's this cable that comes from the battery port, the charging port on the back, comes down to here. I need to separate that. And it's connected down here to this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and disconnect whatever this is. All right, so that comes off pretty easily. And then I'm gonna get a little Phillips head, and I'll see if I can disconnect this blue thing so I can remove this plastic all the way. I'll be back. So what it looks like down here is, just angle it down a little more. So I disconnected this from back here, frees up some space there. And then it looks like to get this off, I've got to remove a screw right there. And that should free up some space to lift this plastic out of the way. Eventually, I'm going to have to take this off because this is connected to the batteries. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so eventually I'm gonna have to take this off, whatever this is. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take it off now. Give me a little more room. Man, I hope I don't get shocked. Electricity, it's dangerous stuff. So I'll have to give this a number and put it in a little envelope so that I don't lose track of where this screw goes. Yeah, that screws into this top frame thing here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and label that and I'll be back. Okay, so I took off the screw that held this down into that steel there, and I took off this one here that was screwed down there, labeled that 5 for the screw, and labeled this one 4 for the screw, and put those in envelopes labeled the same way. So I need to think about this for a second. What I'm going to do next, I think I need to remove this because that looks like it's kind of attached to the battery. So I'm going to remove 2 screws here and label those number 6 and put them in an envelope and see what happens then. I'll be back. Okay, so I've loosened the screws and this just lifts off and exposes things that look like it could kill me. But anyway, I'm gonna put these little screws in a bag and label them, and I'll be back. Okay, so I took off that cover that was over there and set that aside. I just left the screws in it so I know where they go. And now I'm gonna go ahead. You can see I've got a cable up here that's running up to what I guess is the pressure switch for the seat. It looks like I can just take this off and push all that down through there to free up some more space here. And so then this charger, just wish there was a way to pull that through, but I guess I just need to release the front of this thing and I can take it off, push this off to the side. So let me try that and I'll be back. Okay, so I released the front tabs on this thing. You just have to lift this up and then push back on the bottom of this plastic down here for those little tabs to release. And then I think I can set this aside over here. And then I can get to whatever's going on here. So here's the pressure switch. I can push that off to the side. Oh, there's my missing screw. Glad I found that. I'm gonna label those, I'll be right back. Okay, so just to look at where I am right now. So this was connected to there. This was bolted to down there. That's been unscrewed, disconnected. This is now disconnected. I don't know what that is, but that wasn't connected to anything that I could see. So I'm just gonna ignore that. I'm just gonna push it to the side here. And I'm going to put that to the side and then push these to the side a little bit. Okay. And push this to the side. All right. God, I had no idea what I'm doing. All right, so there is this bolt right here. I'm assuming that's holding on this top bracket that's holding everything together. So I'm gonna take that out, see what that yields, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got this out. You know what really sucks is I didn't have a socket for that size. You know, it's always the one you need, right? But anyway, so I had to use this, and I put it on vertically like that, and then I stuck a screwdriver through the top, and then I twisted it off, okay? So it took about, I don't know, 10 or 15 turns for this long bolt to come out of here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and see what happens now when I try to pull stuff out, and I'll get back. Okay, so apparently this just lifts off of here. Here's my Inspector Mitzi. She's making sure I don't do anything wrong, but I want to also make sure she doesn't get into anything dangerous here. So there's that. I'm just going to put that on the floor. No, ma'am, you stay down. Stop. Here, go find something to do. Go color or something. All right, so that's off. Now, I think these little covers are just going to lift off, so I'm just going to place those over here. Okay. And then it looks like there are batteries in here. It's weird. This little gray thing attaches to that battery. So I'm assuming these are just going to lift out of here, and they're connected to that. These two are. So I guess all this power runs together through here, and then this is where you have all your combined battery juice coming out of here. That's my guess. But again, I think electricity is some kind of voodoo magic witchcraft stuff. I don't understand it, but if I can't see it, I don't get it. But so I'm gonna go ahead and just I think I'll go ahead and disconnect these batteries. Yeah, I'll pull off these little things. I'll take off the terminals that are connecting these together so that I can then just pull them out. So I won't make you watch me do that. I'm gonna pause and I'll be back. Okay, so I took out the bolts to isolate each battery. Gray thing, I still don't know what that's all about, but I'm going to put this aside and see what happens later. Somehow I don't think I'll need it. All right, so this is all connected. This is just connected to one battery now. So I think I should just be able to pull all of these out, and that appears to be the case. Okay. So I will come back when I get them all pulled out. I took out two of them, then I realized this is still connected to a battery. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. Okay, now this is obviously very important. I'm gonna put it up here so that I can see it and keep an eye on it and make sure the cat doesn't get it. And I'm gonna take out the rest of the batteries and I'll be back. Okay, so all the batteries are out. And I think what I need to do next is I'm gonna cut a sheet of plywood to fit over this, this base. And that sheet of plywood will give my battery a stable platform, and then we'll talk about securing it after I get the new battery in. I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet, but I have a sheet of plywood, so I'm going to cut that and set that on top. After I get that cut, I'll be back, just so I can document this. So looking at this this battery tray in here. Okay, so I've got the plywood cut. I measured that to be 12 by 20 inches with a little bit of overlap across this frame down there, those two squares. I'll get an inch more in the back and then a ½ inch on each side of the long sides. And I brought out my trusty LED lamp to help us see. Inspector Mitzi decided to go take a nap. So I will be back when I get a chance to slide that in. Okay, so got the plywood here, 20 by 12, and I'm thinking it's gonna sit right here so it can slide any direction, it will still maintain support, but I will strap this down with some zip ties when I go out and get them. So there will be a delay for me in finishing this, but you all will not see that. So I'm gonna pause and, well, actually, let me go ahead and pick up the battery and bring it over here. See what that looks like. Oops, so there's the battery. That's the LiTime, whatever people call it. It's the 51.2 volt, 30 amp hour. This has the Bluetooth, so it's the smart Bluetooth 5.0 group CG2. So that's the battery. And obviously it's not going to fit in this upright position. The seat will be a problem. All the plastic will be an issue. So it's gonna have to lay down on its side, and I just need to look at all the connections and see what's gonna reach to it, to the terminals, to know which side to lay it on. So I'll come back once I figure out how it's gonna lay down. One thing to note is the terminals that come with the battery are these. I think they're 8mm, but with the existing wiring here, they won't fit through here. So I guess you could drill this out a little bit maybe, but I went ahead and purchased these little 8mm I think it's 8mm with these little posts, and these fit when it goes from 8 to 6. So the battery is an 8-inch post, and the mower is a 6mm post versus the 8mm posts. So anyway, I've replaced those, and so these will go on here and here. And so I'm assuming the battery will lay down with the post facing that side, since we have to connect back up to that. So that should have some screws or something to bolt these down with. So let me figure out where that is, and I'll come back. Okay, those 8mm to 6mm posts that I purchased would be great, but it didn't come with nuts. So I can't screw the terminal down on top of this. So I'm just going to drill out this with just a tiny bit bigger and see how that works. Okay, so I've got a drill bit on here that's slightly bigger than this hole size here. So I'm just going to grip this nice and tight, and then come back from the other side, the way that it's angled. Then I'm going to come in here. I think it's working. I know this is probably not what I should be doing, but I don't have time. If that will give me enough starter threads, maybe. Nope. I need to keep drilling. Well, I think it's getting there. You know, I don't even know if this bit is intended for metal, but okay, that was a really difficult way to drill that. It did work, but I'm going to do this one a little differently this time. I'm going to, so you can see here, I got the one at the top of the screen here is the one that I drilled out. And again, I know I'll probably get a lot of criticism on that, but I don't have a crimping tool to put new terminal hoops, electrical magical things on it. So Anyway, so for this one, to drill this one out, I decided it was going to be easier if I place it on a piece of wood and I could put some force behind it. So I'm going to drill from both sides. Oh, helps if you go in the right direction, doesn't it? Yep. That's gonna bite. That might be big enough already. Let's just see. Take out the 8mm post. No, it's close. Not quite. So let me go ahead and probably should hold this down with a pair of pliers. Gosh, you know, having the right tools is just so freaking important. All right, this will let me hold this with a little more force now. Okay. I need to clean that up. I need to get a file and clean this up a little bit. Flatten that back out. Let's see if this post will go in there. Okay, it's close. We'll run the drill through it one more time. See if that did it. Okay, that fits now. So I've got those. You know, I don't know from an electricity perspective if what I'm doing here is totally jacked up or not, but I can't find really good video tutorials, so I figure if I make this tutorial, it will at least give people an idea of what they're going to encounter in detail, and then they can research it and do it the right way. All right, I'm going to pause and get a drink. All right, so I'm going to get the original posts that came with the battery. Let me see if I've got these here. Okay, so these are the terminal screws here that came out of the old batteries. These 8 to 6 millimeters, or I purchased a bag of those. They weren't expensive though, so I'm probably not going to use these now. So I'm going to put them over to the side. And then I noticed one of these screws, one of these bolts was longer than the others. I took out 4 or 5 bolts total from the other batteries. One of them came out of a black negative terminal, the others came out of the positive terminals. So I'm assuming this will go here. And I would be wrong. I need to backtrack. Okay, I'm backing up here. I was leading you down the wrong path before. These came with the battery. These are the larger 8 millimeter. These are the 6 millimeter that were in the old batteries. I'm not using these. Great, where's that gonna go? Okay, I'll find that later. So those are no good to me. So these are the 2 terminal posts, and so I'm going to lay the battery down facing that way. So I want to have this positioned so that, let me try to imagine this now. It's got to connect back into this. So this needs to be up top. So I think I need to connect the posts like this. So negative, here's the black. So this one will go here. Screw that nut in that came with the battery because I bored these out to make them bigger. And then the red one, you know, before I do this, I'm going to go into the app and I'm going to turn off. There's an option in the app, I'll try to see if I can post that, where you can tell the battery not to discharge. Let me do that, so I'm gonna stop, I'll be back. Okay, so I turned off the output power or something like that through the app for the battery. So hopefully it's not sending out a charge or anything. It's just a little safer, I think, for somebody like me who doesn't know what they're doing. And then, so I need to tighten those down. Really? I'm not gonna hunt around for a socket. I'm just gonna use this wrench. Tighten that down. So I want this to be red to red, black to black, okay? I'm just gonna align these to try to make them somewhat vertical. And then tighten that down. So, you know, this thing's gonna be bouncing around on the yard. So I'm gonna try to get it pretty tight, but not crazy tight. So far, it's not taking much strength to tighten these. Okay, so that's tight. And then I'm going to stretch this over each one of these, then do the black one. right, so I think those are on pretty well. Okay, so then I'm going to lay this on its side. Try not to break anything during the process. So this will line up somewhere over here, I guess. Probably push it to the front. It's probably better for weight distribution. Okay. I think that's probably pretty good. And then, let me make sure I'm recording this. Okay. And then, I think this is the main power here. Okay, so there's that. And I want to be able to test this before I go and strap everything down and do all that. So I know I've got the this is, oh yeah, I forgot about this guy. All right, so this connects back to this under the seat thingamabob here. So that's connected back. I don't know what this is. Somebody can probably tell me and we'll figure that out. Okay, so there's that. Now, the I think guess I'll be using these covers anymore. I'll put them aside for now. All right, so nothing will work unless the seat is down, right? So I guess theoretically, if I push this down when I turn the key on, I should get power. But let me go back to the app and turn the power from the battery back on first. Okay, so I went into the app and I turned the power back on for the battery, and I'm just going to move this out of the way a little bit and put it here. Okay, this should give a little better view of what's going on here. So again, this is the pressure plate that goes under the seat, and this is what I guess interrupts the power if you get up off the machine. All right, so I don't see anything else that I need to connect. I'll probably have to bundle these wires together at some point. All right, so here's the test, I guess. When I turn this on, I should get a beep or something, right? Okay, so are you able to see that? Let me angle this up a little bit. So I've got that, and if I sit down, if I push this button simulating sitting down, it should stop, which it does. Okay. So then it should move forward. I'm gonna go backwards. Yep, backwards. And I won't do forwards, I'll just push it forwards. Okay. And so then the next thing is, will the blades engage? So let me make sure I don't have any cats under here. And I'll just do a really quick blade engagement. All right, I don't see any cats under there. I have 4, my wife has 4 cats, so if I killed one, I'd never mow again probably. All right, so I'm gonna sit down, push this button down, make sure my feet are nowhere near what's going on over there. I'm gonna turn this on so I have power, and then I'm just gonna quickly pull up. Or is it push down? Let's pull up. All right, that was quick, but that's power. So I think this is a success. I mean, you never know, right? Because if this works, if this doesn't like quit or something like that, run for 10 minutes and stop, I would consider this a success for me, for damn sure. So anyway, I'm gonna put this all back together, and I'm hoping that'll be easy because I've labeled all of these bolts and things. But before I do that, I need to go and I need to get some straps for this and strap it down. So I guess I can just go under the frame and back over on top and then just tighten this down. And then I want to get some little ties and tie all these things together so that they don't interfere with each other. Oh, the Anderson connector for I've got to connect that thing. So let me look at that. All right, so there's this, right? This came with the battery, and this is supposed to, I think I've got to break some tabs in the charger port here. You see those 2 little tabs down there? Let me see if you can see them. I think you can. There are 2 little tabs that I think, have to break so that and people say you can get them out with needle nose pliers. We'll find out. So they don't interfere with these little ridges here. So if I break those 2 little tabs in there, then hopefully this will just plug right in. And I'd like to test that before I quit. So I'm going to get some needle nose pliers and see if in fact I can do that. I can take that out like that. So needle nose pliers. Okay. So here, we're going to go in here. I'm going to grab that and twist it. Okay, so that one seems to have come out pretty clean from what I can tell. All right, so let me save that so the cats don't eat it. And then I'm going to break that one off. So there's that one, and that one was not quite as clean. So I'm gonna go in here and grab this little piece that was left and just twist it. Okay, that's got that. All right, so that looks like, let me see what you guys are seeing here. Yeah, you can see it. So you can see where I took out those 2 tabs, and now the new connector should line up with it. Okay, so Now this will go into the charger, and the charger, let me pull the charger over. Okay, so this is the charger that I bought for this. It's the Smart Charger. HTRC is the company that makes it. It's the P3648 lithium LiPo4 and lead acid. And so it came with this right here. Let me undo this. And then, so if I just take this should plug in over here, like so, like that. And then when I plug this should now plug into here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this in now and see if it does anything. Okay, I need a plug. Unplug my vacuum cleaner. Plug this in. Okay. So I plugged in the charger. Plugged in the charger. It's plugged in over here, plugged in here, so I'm going to turn it on. All right, it says that it's off. It just clicked on, and it might take it a second to register. I pre-charged this battery. So this is set on 48 volts, 13 amps here. All right, let me look at the app and see what the app is saying. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just checked the app, and it actually turned off while I had the app open. The battery stopped charging, and it says full right here. You can see here it says full, and the app showed it 100% charged. So I've got the charging port now that I wanted, so I didn't have to deal with little cables hanging out of the back. And the battery is plugged in, so I think I can just unplug. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, pull out the battery, or pull out the connector here, and I have to screw that back in to secure it, but for now it's good. So now I can unplug this and put this away for now. All right, so I think that all that's left from here is putting all the screws back in. I'm not sure what, I don't guess I need to secure these to anything. I'm just gonna strap all this wiring together and use some zip ties on it. And when I get the zip ties on there, you know, there's probably 1,000 ways to do that. And you don't need to see me, watch me do it, because, you know, you just don't need to. Because you can do it any way you want. But then I'll you know, put the seat back on and start following my numbers and get my screws and put all the plastic back on. I mean, that's frankly, doing the plastic, all the plastic is probably the hardest part of this. So anyway, I'm gonna edit all of this and put it together and try to include some pictures and stuff. But I think that's all there is to it. It was easier than I thought it would be. I was actually pretty terrified when I started this. And in case you all are wondering, this is the handsome guy that was doing all this. I'm 60, so I would much rather have paid somebody to do this, but there was nobody in the area that would. not that I could find. So anyway, it's not that hard. I hope this video helps somebody, because I really struggled to get started. I was just too afraid and that I was going to break something, and I just couldn't find a good video that really showed me what I wanted to see. So I'm hoping this helps you guys who are trying to use this particular battery with the 30-inch Ryobi riding mower. But I think this applies to any of the lithium battery conversions. If it's a single battery, it's not that bad. So thank you.